of miserable adults in their jobs and in their fields. I don't want to be one of them. I don't want to wish
That's
I'm
facts,
stuck
though.
in
That's facts.
traffic so
That's
I don't
facts.
make
That's
it to work
facts.
on time. Like I want to actually do something and be passionate about it. So I'm I'm changing my plan in order to go into a field that I'm passionate about and not caring what other people think and yeah, just doing what makes me happy because you got to put yourself first because no one else will.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Follow up. So I think the mindset we have is it's either we go for money or we go for passion. It's not either or. So I've seen people that came, let me use the word came, right? That came, their folks sent them, maybe the folks are even in Nigeria, sent them here. And they decided, okay, I'm going to study criminology. Yes, I can remember, criminology. And the guy did criminology and all of those. And at the end of the day, he struggled. He couldn't get a job. He was still frustrated. You are getting the whole idea. So if your area of passion has no viability, it's not really viable, you have to pay your bills as an adult, right? So for example, if you are passionate about art, you want to be an artist, okay, does it pay the bills? You get what I'm trying to say? Oh, I'm going to go to Broadway, and all those interesting dreams. They are great dreams, but will it pay your bills? So there has to be a balance, right, between what is practical and what pays the bills. That's where your sweet spot really is. So don't go all the way, like all blinded on passion and not look at the real world. Does this really fit into the real world? So find the middle spot is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you. That is a very good. That is a very good one. As one person has a. Before I give the mic to you, let me just say one thing. There is a story of a medical doctor. I can't remember his specialty, but if he had always wanted to be a musician, right? But then he went to medicine. He practiced for multiple years, and then probably 10, 15 years or 20 years, he stopped, and then went back to his original passion, music. That music is not paying the bills. It is the medicine that is still paying the bills because you don't know if you're going to make it big or not in the music industry. And you may think you're talented, but there's a lot of competition out there. So understand when they say passion is not always everything. So just wanted to add that. All right, go ahead.
Don't let I guess don't let your work life like take over your like whole life, I guess. Try to make time from other people that you love.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. There is a practical side of life. Y'all have a lifestyle that you probably envision, but there's practical things you can do to get there. You can have hobbies outside, but make sure what you're doing is making sense for your goals. The first question I have for the panelists is I want you each to please answer this question. Each of you has taken a different path: law, healthcare, dentistry, entrepreneurship, and more. Looking back, what was the moment you realized that you were on the right path? Start with Faith.
Um, I guess I would say the moment I realized I was on the right path was when I was in student government. One of the things that we get to do, we get to be a part of different committees within the state. And I had the privilege of serving as a co-chair for a resolutions committee. And it's pretty much a committee where we come up with ideas to help public Texas institutions, and I came up with a resolution to provide free feminine products in women's bathrooms all over Texas. And it was actually passed at the state level, and so now all Texas colleges are required to offer free feminine products in all women's bathrooms. And it was a huge uphill battle that I had to face, and it made me realize how much I want to advocate for people and women to just have the basic necessities, have basic care, and that's why I want to go into the law that I want to do.
For me, I think I would say it was when I was in dental school, and I had the opportunity to go for a trip where we provided free dental care to a rural area in California, and we were there for about a week. And it was in that moment where I saw the need for just oral healthcare education and just really treating people. There was no money involved. There was no pay this, I get $5,000. There was nothing like that. It was just me and a patient getting them the care that they need, getting them out of pain. And I had so much joy. I felt like I was part of something outside of myself. And I think that it was what solidified that, okay, I'm in this not just for the money. I'm in this because I see that there's a difference that I can make here, and I see how God is aligning me with that. And yeah.
For me, it was definitely many moments. I think one of the biggest reasons why I chose my career was because of advocacy. Growing up, I don't think I ever really had someone like that for me when it came to healthcare, like if I had to go to the hospital. And I would be I took this class when I was in college for interprofessional relations, and you are basically in a room with all different kinds of healthcare professionals, and you guys are practicing your roles, and you have simulations and all that stuff. And I think I did this my sophomore year. That was when I switched majors, and I wasn't really sure if I was making the right decision. And I was in that room, and there were doctors, nurses, dietitians, just all different parts of the people on the healthcare team, for intercollaboration. And I realized that as a nurse, I actually get to be with my patient more. I get to advocate for my patient, not just for the health they're receiving physically, but also the emotional aspect of things. I realized that I was an advocate, not just in the room, but also outside of the room. If there was something going on with my patient, I am the go-to person that everybody comes to, and that includes doctors, dietitians, anyone that's part of their care team. And when we did that simulation, I think it really clicked for me, this was the role that I wanted to have. And yeah, I think even now that I'm done with college, when I'm at home and I'm having conversations with my parents or my mom or whatever, and my mom's like, oh, I took my blood sugar today and it was 84. Is that good? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And I think that moment brings me joy, knowing that when I was growing up, that was not something that I really understood, or that was not something that was really spoken of. And now I'm able to have conversation with my parents about their health. And the healthcare system in the United States obviously is not the best thing that it is right now, but having representation, having people who are able to talk to you about what's going on with you is something that I'm really passionate about. And they always say, health is wealth. So I really hope that I can make that contribution to as many lives as possible.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Those were extremely, extremely insightful answers. I'm actually going to go to a question that I got, not from me, from somebody else. It's an extremely open-ended question. You guys are all young ladies that have seen a lot of success, very impressive. What is y'all's dating life like? Relationship status? And you can obviously answer in any way that makes you feel the most comfortable. And what advice would you give to young girls yeah.
I can go first. Um, I think that's a valid question. I don't know how to like break it. I think a lot of people have this myth that you cannot be in a relationship while you're doing all of these art things as a woman, and that's not true. I think that you can be in a relationship and you can also do all of these things. I'm not really sure why that question was asked, but I think that if I were to give any advice to any young girls out there, is your relationship is a part of your life, not your whole life. It's like, I have a career, I have a job, I have parents, I have siblings, I have a relationship. It's those kind of things. You get to define who you are as a person, and whoever wants to be in your life will align and will fall into path. Obviously, as people who were raised in church, you have to pray about your relationship. Make sure that you have, you make sure you're a very like disciplined person, and make sure that you have, I forgot what the word is, self-something.
Discernment.
Self-respect, thank you. Make sure you have self-respect. Like, when you respect yourself, you're gonna meet people that respect you, and you won't have to like consider, oh, does he like me or does he not like me? Like, if he likes you, you're gonna know. And if you're asking yourself that question every single time, he doesn't like you. So yeah, that's the only advice I can give to young girls. You know, choose your path, and your relationship is also an aspect of whatever it is that you decide to do.
Good answer.
I think I have a two-part answer. The first would be, if I was in y'all's shoes right now, hearing this question, what I would want to know is that relationship is one of those things that at the right time, it's beautiful. At the right time, it's lovely. Hello? Okay. I don't know. Okay, yeah, it's fine. At the right time, it's beautiful, it's nice, it's wonderful, right? But in this stage in your life, and it's gonna sound so cliche, but it's so true, because I sat where you guys are sitting hearing this, like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. But it's very true. At the right time. And right now, I feel like you're still evolving, you're growing, you're learning, all these things are hitting you at once in the world and in here. That the relationship part, don't even worry about it. You can have crushes, you can like guys, you can do this, you can do that, but just go ahead and know that like that shouldn't even be the forefront of your mind right now. You know, just learning, knowing yourself, knowing what you want to do, knowing how you can be a better individual. Those are the things you should focus on. And if you like a guy along the way, that's okay. You can talk about it with your friends, but it shouldn't be a relationship situation. But my part two answer would be, as of right now, as a 27-year-old, okay, looking into the dating world. No, I am not dating, but I'm in a space where I can do that because I've done the work for myself as an individual. I've done the work in terms of knowing who I am. I'm still learning who I am. I have a career, you know, so things are already in place to where it's like, if I decided to be in a relationship, that's okay. And no one's gonna beat me up for that. But because I know and I've done the work, I'm not just jumping into whatever it is or whichever guy likes me, you know? So, no, I'm not dating, but I'm definitely open. Yeah.
I would like to start off by saying you do not need a rich partner to get on in life. So let's focus on the degree first. I would also like to say that when it comes to dating, I feel like we're always in this mindset of rushing to be settled, of finding the perfect partner, starting the family, all that stuff. But, you know, things happen in different orders and different times. Especially right now, I just don't think that dating should be as much of a concern. I mean, you're hearing from them, but coming from someone that's also 20 years old, it's not worth it right now to be dating. The advice that they said is very valid. If you see a red flag, accept the red flag and then run. That's it. There's no need for compromise in anything. Date your Bible, if anything. Date your books, because I'm not saying that like you'll regret dating or anything like that, but I feel like we tend to make it an idol if we're not careful with it, and we tend to prioritize it more than like yourself. During this time, I mean, even right now, I'm like figuring myself out every single day, and I think they can both agree that they're figuring themselves out every single day as well. So dating is great, but that's all I gotta say. And don't settle. I will say that. Don't settle. The best is out there for you. It may not be now, but it will come at some point. So that's what I can say to dating.
Thank you so much. At this time, does anybody in the crowd have any questions at all?
Before
we got a question
we-
back there already. Hold on.
Hey, hold on for your questions first. Before we do that, there are some questions that needs to be answered. So, Ms. Fadikwe, right? You talked about pre-seed. I want you to expound on that. I mean, what does it take? Tell us your story. And I like what Dr. Dami did with that presentation, by the way. Thank you for that. So, tell us your story. Tell us what pre-seed is, how you got there, because we have some people that are aspiring to become entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And these children may not know how to ask those questions as of yet. So explain that to us, because I figure you have a finance background as well, or you taught yourself about it. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
And do you also mind talking about the Stanford event you went to?
Yeah, I
I
can do
taught
that.
that to Stanford. Yeah, please.
Of course, guys. So I'm gonna start by prefacing. How many people in the room would like to own their own business one day? It's okay if you don't know. Okay.
A lot of hands.
That's a lot of hands, and I'm really glad. I remember whenever I was having my own little discussion, I was telling people that you get to define your own path. I think entrepreneurship is not something that's really talked about or emphasized whenever you're in high school. They're usually talking about the sciences, the fine arts, the business, and all that stuff. And with entrepreneurship, basically what you do is you have your own business. You're technically getting to make your own rules. You're technically having a customer, and then your business and all that stuff. So a little bit about Glamere. Our story is very atypical. I want to say we launched quite literally 11 months ago. So next year is our 1-year anniversary. So that's a really big thing for me. So Glamere is an all-in-one AI-powered beauty platform that's catered to not just women, but also men, to get education about their skin health, makeup, and all the other stuff that comes along with it. I think a lot of people, when we talk about our physical health, we're not talking about our facial features. We're not talking about what we put on our skin. We're just talking about what you look like and how you look like it. And I think that's something that I wanted to emphasize with Glamere. And with the rush of AI coming, I realized it was something that I was passionate about, something I wanted to go to. How can I balance AI and integrate that with beauty, technology, and then healthcare? We launched our prototype this time last year, not this time last year, but a little bit earlier, around July or August or whatever. We wanted to see is this even a thing that's viable to the community? When I was launching this, I was thinking, as a Black woman, as someone who doesn't really see a lot of people that look like me in the beauty tech industry, as someone who, whenever I see products being catered to me, it's maybe one person out of so many other people that don't look like me. What can I do to bridge that gap? So that's all the things that I was thinking. And luckily for me, I had two really important parts of a company that's needed. So I was launching this, I was thinking as a CEO, but I also needed someone with the business and marketing perspective and someone with the technological respect of things, someone that can bring this to life. So it's an application that can be installed on your phone. The AI part of it is not really big, because a lot of people have so many critiques about AI, but more so the skin health aspect of it. So when you install our application, we have 3 main features. There's makeup analysis, there's recreate a look, and there's also an aspect of it that's scanning your face and giving you feedback on all of the stuff that you put on your face. We have an home page where you can check off like your skincare routine every single day. It sends you reminders and all that stuff. And we just have so many other great things like games, like the educational aspect of things that's needed in order for you to get more knowledge about your skin health. So when we launched, like I mentioned, we launched as a prototype. We raised a friends and family fund. So there are stages of funding when it comes to business. You can have a business and all that stuff, but if you don't have money, your business not going to come to life. And that's basically what pre-seed is. There's like stages of business, stages of funding a business, and you have like, the 0 stage, pre-seed, seed, Series A, Series B, and all that stuff. So this is something that I was teaching myself along the way. I didn't go to business school, but it's something that you can learn. Like she mentioned YouTube earlier. There's so many great information on YouTube, and there's like people around you that you can look up information and ask them all that questions and all that stuff. So when I was saying that we were at our pre-seed stage, what I meant was that we already raised a family and friends fund of a certain amount of money to start our startup. And now we're going into pre-seed where we are reaching out to investors that are interested in our company to give us money. I'm just gonna put in like the most layman terms possible. Give us money so we can continue the growth of our company. So that is what a pre-seed stage is. And then from pre-seed, you go to Series A, you go to Series B. So when we talk about like, oh, I just raised a certain amount of money for my company, it's based on the stages of funding that's been given to them by investors giving you a certain amount of money for like a percentage of your company. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was a good
Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. And sorry, just a little bit about the Stanford event. So one of the biggest things that we did for our startup, because we are Black founders, and there's not a lot of Black founders. There is a lot of Black founders, sorry, but there's not a lot of representation of Black founders. Like a lot of people do not understand that like you can start your own company and you can build stuff and you can do certain things. So we attended this event called Breakthrough VC at Stanford University. It's basically like an accelerator program that gives you access to resources such as investors, mentors, leaders that are in this space currently right now, where you're able to pitch your company to different investors from different parts of the world that attend the event. And then whoever is interested in you comes to talk to you after the event. It's like a networking thing, but it's called an accelerator programs, and there are different types of accelerator programs. There's Breakthrough, there's YC, like Y Combinator is what's usually called. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. And there's like so many other accelerator programs that are out there for underrepresented founders in the industry that are willing to like lead their company one day and take it really far. So that was what the Stanford event was about, and it was definitely very eye-opening as someone that I didn't have like a prior business background or like engineering and all that stuff. To be in a room full of so many people who just like come watch you and like, okay, I'm gonna give you this money and you can continue your business and I can do all of that stuff. So I think I would end by saying, I know I already mentioned this so many times already, you can define your own path, but in everything that you do in life, make sure that you are thinking for yourself and you're putting yourself in like the rooms that you feel like you're supposed to be in, because you can only think as far as you see. If you don't put yourself in certain rooms, if you don't think beyond the horizon, and it sounds very cliche, but if you stay in one area just for like ever, you're not gonna see all the stuff that you can achieve. Pray to God, obviously, God first every single time, but also do your work. Make sure you put yourself in rooms that you need to be in order for you to be able to like commence on your goals and your journey and all that stuff. And it's really easy. It can just start by you talking to somebody at church, talking to your coworker, talking to your friend at iStook, talking to a teacher, talking to a professor. Talking to people gets you farther than you think, because when you show interest in what you're trying to do, then they are going to remember that you mentioned that you showed interest in this, and your names are going to be mentioned in rooms that you don't even think they should be mentioned. And that's God's work, by the way. So that's just what I would like to add to that. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I know it's a lot you've said, and for those that are going to become entrepreneurs here, we'll probably figure a time out to break all those down if you have additional questions, because we don't want to, use this time for all that. So Miss Faith, another question for you. You say you have an associate in public health. Public health. Okay. So tell us more about the public health space, because my understanding is usually you get a bachelor's in public health, and usually to be very effective, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to have a master's degree in public health. So tell us what public health is, because everybody pretty much, whether they know it or not, are in some way intertwined with public health. So tell us more about that.
So public health is on, I would say in a general term, it's just on how the healthcare system works. Not only that, but it's about the things that you eat, the things that you consume, the policies that are made, the diseases that are in our environment, how things are taken care of. It's different stuff like that, whether it focuses on the sociological aspect, like your income or your race, different stuff like that. And so the kind of public health I'm going into is mainly focusing on the policy and healthcare infrastructure, which is on how hospitals work and take care of certain groups of people. And yes, with having a bachelor's, you can't do anything with an associate's in a focus of public health. With having a bachelor's, you can become an educator in public health education, or you can go into policy analytics. But with a master's or going into law school, you can do a lot more with a public health degree, with getting a six-figure salary. It's a really good opportunity for you to understand how different things work, because it touches on many different aspects of the world, on the economics of the Food Drug Administration, it can even be the kind of shows that you watch, or just the environment that you're in, how in certain areas in Dallas, like it's very rural and degraded, while in other areas of Dallas, it's very advanced and whatnot. It just focuses on what you have access to, what you consume, just different stuff like that.
Thank you. And lastly, Dr. Damilola Oshibamowo. I mean, isn't it great? She's a product of the youth church. I mean, I remembered when you were sitting here and you said you wanted to become a dentist. And then she became that. So she is a product of this youth church. So what I want to ask you is this. What challenges, as you can relate to, putting yourself back in this, youth department, what are the advice you'll give your former you in the future? Does it make sense? That is a broad question, and I want you to play with that. However, what do you think is missing? What can be done better? Challenges you faced? Things like that.
Challenges that I feel like I faced, looking back into just kind of how I was raised here, like he mentioned, I think I would have put my pride aside, or what I felt like I knew at that time, and just listened. Listened to what people who were older than me, not just anybody who's older than me, but people who, called me to advise me and tell me things, and actually just have been humble enough to accept it and receive it, because there was some good in that. And I say that not necessarily in terms of my career, but what I faced in college, what I faced in dental school, and what I honestly faced as a young adult. These were things that they talked about, they mentioned, and I would have actually listened. Not to say I wasn't listening. I was a pretty good youth. Like, I was. But I feel like that definitely would have helped my journey. I also think that if I could go back and do it again, I probably would have really pushed myself to, I don't know, like to really dream bigger. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes, kind of like she was saying, when we are in rooms that this is all you know, you kind of limit that thought in your head. And in my head or in my thoughts, it was like, okay, yeah, well, let me go be a dentist and let me just do this and have my 9 to 5 and I'll be good. But then it wasn't until I got to LA and I was with classmates who their parents are billionaires. And it was like there was so much more that the world showed me that it has to offer. And like, you have to put in the work. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to rescue you with their money. You have to be the person to honestly figure it out for yourself. But the lovely thing about life too is that people have done it ahead of you. So being able to ask those questions, being able to put yourself and your ego or your shyness aside and say, you know what, how did you get this done? Like, how are you able to, pass this class? Or how are you able to go ahead and have this situation, but you're still, having money on the side or whatever it is that you're trying to do better? So essentially, I would say ask those questions, and be receptive of what people, adults tell you, because it's out of love and it's out of care. Not all adults are right, but they love you. And one thing I can say that the youth teachers do here that I have seen in terms of like when I was a youth versus you guys being a youth is that they have channeled y'all in ways that we didn't get that. So take advantage of that. You know what I mean? I know 2024, they went to, was it 2024? They went to DC. Yeah, you guys were in DC, I remember that. And I feel like that was such a lovely experience, We didn't get to do that, but I feel like that shows me that, okay, they're investing into different ideas and different rooms that you guys can see yourself in. So, yeah. But I feel like, thankfully, I've had a pretty good life so far, and I take that to God. It's not because I know how to do life well. I don't. I make lots of mistakes. But what I do know how to do is be humble and come to God and talk to God and also just respect the people who have nurtured me to who I am today.
Thank you.
What Sister Dami just said was, it's not a question, it's just to add to what she's saying. What I could pick was, ask the right questions. Don't feel, I know so many people feel shy or whatnot. For example, I have 3 mentees, and it took a while, for them to warm up to say, hey, uncle, and start, you know what I mean? You are surrounded by a wealth of knowledge and experience, and the question you want to ask yourself is, it's whose loss if you are not tapping into the resources you have available to you. So like she mentioned, feel free, ask, even if it's not your mentor, ask questions, somebody asked me a while ago, he says, uncle, how much do you earn? I smiled and you get it. I didn't see it as an awkward question. You get what I'm trying to, feel free to ask. Because you know what I mean? You are not asking enough questions, and there's a lot that you can still know, even though we think we know, a lot, but there's still a lot, there's a world out there that until you ask questions, you start scratching into the depths of knowledge. Yeah.
So, thank you, guys. Thank you, beautiful, young, brilliant career panelists, ladies. You guys have really sparked a lot of great conversation, engaging, insightful. Let's give it up for them. Woo! Yes. And so my question is, as you guys have actually reflected on your journey thus far, or even this far in your career, especially around challenges and lessons learned, can you describe one aha moment? Like, whoa, that happened, and how you learned from it, how it shaped you and shifted your perception. And adding to that, I bet there are people in here, that they don't even know where to go to. They don't have that sense of direction. They don't know what their career path will be. Would you be able to advise someone who truly feels lost and uncertain about the career path or direction they want to go to?
Of course. When you say a moment, are you saying like positive or negative?
Negative.
Oh,
Aha.
okay.
Aha, negative.
Okay.
And I know we've said a lot of positive, and I want to put a negative spin that
Yeah.
you can, it's like a weakness that you turned into an opportunity, or a
Yes.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's helping me. So.
Of course. I think I could get like a little personal and just talk about like my journey this year as a person. So when I was in college, I was doing all the right thing. I knew what I wanted to do. I went to the right people. I talked to the right people, did the classes, did the extracurriculars. Like, I was just like one of those students that knew what I was supposed to be doing, and I did it. And then I was just like, okay, like, I've got it. My last semester was like where I had to apply for a bunch of interviews to interview at the hospitals that I wanted to work at. Because when I was in school, I also worked. So I knew that working would get me into the door of the unit that I wanted to work on. I wanted to work in critical care. Sorry. I wanted to work in critical care, and I was like, critical care or nothing. Like, you cannot beg me to do anything else except critical care, because that's what I'm passionate about. I was like an extern, and basically an extern is someone that shadows like an RN of what they do. And I was like, oh, I got this. I was on the unit, and I, at a moment where I applied for a bunch of interviews, but I was like, I'm just gonna stay in Austin. I don't wanna move back home. Austin's kind of like a mini LA. It gives me the vibe that I want. I'm gonna stay in Austin, and I'm gonna work there, and I'm gonna move forward and all that stuff. And I got the job at my dream unit at this time. And I had a moment where all of that literally just like dropped. There was a situation where somebody went up to like a manager and said that I was too confrontational. I didn't think that I belonged in the space that I was. I've never experienced that in my life. Like, I know that I say this because when I was in college, I was one of those students that was just like, I knew what to do and I did it. So I never really experienced like a moment where somebody belittled me and told me that I did not belong where I was. And as a result, they were like, oh, you're too confrontational. We're gonna have to rescind this offer from you. Mind you, when I tell you this was my dream job, I'm not kidding. And all of that literally just like fell. Like all the things that it felt like everything that I achieved up until that moment just like went away. And I realized that I allowed them to have that much power over me. And at that moment, I was definitely not faithful. I was faithless because I was like, what's happening? What's going on? Like, I did it all right. I did it all. And that's the thing. Like, you can do everything all right, but if God says you're not going to be in a space, you're not going to be in that space. There's nothing that can happen. And I had to do, like, a pivot. And I think that's one of the things I also want to tell people is that as individuals in life, as humans, you're going to always pivot. There's not a linear way to do anything. There's going to be moments where you're like, okay, this is not working out. Maybe I should consider this other route. And that was what happened for me this year. Last year, we launched Glamere. I didn't think that being a CEO full-time and like also balancing my RN job was going to be a thing. But that became a thing. Now I'm leading a company and I'm also working. I had to move back home. I had to like swallow my pride, move back home, apply to a different round of interviews. Because with nursing, yeah, they say you can get a job with nursing, but what they don't tell you is in the critical care specialties, there are to get into because you have to sort of know somebody or tell somebody that you have the interest. And I think one of the biggest things that happened was like I had to just swallow my pride. I had to just like start all over again. It felt like I was starting all over again from the scratch, move back home, apply to a different rounds of interview, and then go from there. And I think if I were to give advice, I would just say that in whatever that you do in life, obviously put God first, but always have faith. Like, faith carries you so well and so far than you could ever think. And I think that was like the moment that I had this year. Like, it's like an epiphany that, oh my gosh, like, all I had to do was just give everything to God, and He's got it. And now I'm working at like an actual level 1 trauma center that's actually better than the hospital that I originally had planned in Austin. And it might not have been like my dream job, but I'm still where I am. All I had to do was take a moment and pivot and go from there. And I think that's like an aha moment that I would describe. Another advice that I would like to mention is that I think one of the uncles already mentioned that earlier is have mentors. They don't have to necessarily be like way older than you. They can even be someone that's like 1 year, 2 years older than you. But when you see someone that's doing what you want to become, you are extra motivated to do those things because it feels like they're kind of like in your side, in your pocket, and you're like, oh, I talk to this person like quite literally almost every week, and they're doing this. I can do this. When you talk to them, when you have those conversations with them, they tell you what they're going through, how they're doing it. It gives you that extra motivation to, get out of bed in the morning, do what you have to do, and move forward. I know you guys are still in high school, so it's not too early to have mentors. It's not too early to start conversations in church with people that you feel like you would like to become. I'm not saying that all the advice that they're going to give to you is going to be great, but you'll be able to take some advice from what they tell you and apply that to your life. You're going to be applying to colleges soon. College application process is not an easy process for people who don't have the resources at all. But if you don't talk to anybody, you're going to feel so lost. I remember when I was filling out the FAFSA, I was always crying because I was like, I don't know any of this information. And my parents were not there to give me any of this information. And it wasn't until I talked to somebody at my high school that was like a college counselor that kind of pointed me to the right path. You're only lost if you don't have the right information with you. And in order for you to have the right information, you need to get out of your comfort zone and talk to people. So that's all I would say. That was long, sorry.
Amazing.
That was really good. For me, I would say my aha moments. I have so many aha moments. I mean, I have one every week, every day, aha, and then I learn and I pivot and I move on. But a big aha moment I think that I had recently was I was working with a patient and she really stressed me. You know what I mean? There was a lot that she wanted done and so I was really trying my best, really trying my best. But before I saw that lady, God told me, I had a feeling in my gut that, you know what, she might be one of those cases I have to just say, I'll let somebody else deal with it. Not because I don't know how to do it, but there was a feeling. But I was like, no, I got this. I know how to do it. I'll be good. And that ended up being like the worst experience of my life. Like, it was just bad. And it was a ha-ha moment for me because prior to even starting, I always pray to God about every single person I touch. It's a very simple prayer that I pray each time. And he told me, but I decided, no, I got it. I know what I'm doing. And it ended up blowing up in my face. So I really learned to listen to when he speaks to me. It's very simple. Like, in this life, you'll have so many things, I always say, hitting you at once, because that's what it felt like when I started living life. But when you get close to God, and it's never too early, too late, whatever, when you develop that relationship with him, there's a way he speaks to you. There's a way you'll know that this is him talking to you. And he speaks to me, and he told me not to do that case. And I did it, and I was sick. So it was not fun. So definitely try to listen to God when he speaks to you. And an advice that I would give is if you're trying to find out how you want to, or what you want to be, or how you want to live your life, things like that, I wouldn't say that you should put a timeline on it. Trial and error is always a good way to go around it. You can always pivot. If you feel like, you know what, I'm interested in this tech route or whatever, you start by speaking to people who are in that position. You talk to them, see what a day-to-day is like. You go see what it looks like. What does life look like as a tech dude? Or what does life look like as in medicine? What does life look like as a physical therapist? Those ways help you to narrow down what you can see yourself doing. And if you know it's something in the arts, then you can also discuss that with your parents. Hey, mom and dad, I think I enjoy painting. Hey, mom and dad, I think I enjoy being in front of a camera, whatever it is, but definitely not just sitting there thinking to myself, oh, I think I want to do it, and then never take those steps. You'll never know what you like doing or what you want to do if you don't actively work towards it. So that would be my best advice at this age, is to try things out, see what you like, see what you could see yourself doing, and if you don't see yourself doing that, that's okay. You can always take another route. I know people who are 40 who were one was an engineer in my class. He was literally a whole engineer his entire life. Decided he wanted to be a dentist, and he was in dental school with me at 43. So it's never too late to just take another route, regather yourself, and figure it out again. And obviously, you always have God.
Amazing.
So I think an aha moment for me this year, I was heavily involved in school for my last year at Dallas College. And I think I spent and gave like a lot of time to the organization I was in, especially with being president. And I think my biggest aha moment was realizing like how much I was giving and not trusting myself, or I guess my body, my mind, to know like, okay, maybe I should take a pause, maybe I should take a bit of a rest. I feel like we, especially as women, we tend to overwork ourselves, we tend to push ourselves to be the best that we can, to be the best, period, and to just be on top of everything. But I think what we forget is the human parts to ourselves. And we forget that we need to take care of ourselves in order to take care of other things in our lives. And it was one of the biggest lessons that I learned. It's something that my mom has always told me, but I think it wasn't until God just had to like cease everything that was happening around me for me to realize like, okay, I need to take a minute. I need to recuperate. I need to get myself together and just like pause and take care of myself. It's kind of like when people say the way your mind is or the state of your bedroom kind of reflects like how you are mentally. And so if you don't start to take care of yourself, especially when you know you're pushing yourself, like when you have an assignment to do and you have a whole project and then you also have to plan an event, you're doing all these different kinds of things, but you're not taking the time to, I don't know, brush your teeth or take a walk in the park, something like that. Just different things to take care of yourself. When you start to do that, it starts to become bigger and bigger neglects that you start to take in, and then you start to kind of abandon yourself. So I say that now, especially with being in high school, is the best time to figure out what your limits are, where you think you need to take a pause and to just continue and just take care of yourself, because it's going to be very easy when you're on your own, especially when you're away in college, where you'll be doing all these different things, but then you come back home and you realize, I forgot about myself, if that makes sense.
A lot of sense. Thank you so much for that insightful answer. Can we just clap one more time for our panelists? Yeah, so at this time, I think we're going to present some gifts for our lovely panelists.
Hey, how's that? Have you guys gained anything? Was that good or what? Was it good or great? Awesome. So, I just presented. It's okay. So, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And let's give it up for Ayo as well. Woo! On behalf of everyone, we want to say a heartfelt thank you to you guys, young ladies, beautiful ones. Like I said, you've inspired everyone, challenged us, and really fed us. And you know, we have a lot to gain from you and take away from you. Honestly, your wisdom, passion, zeal really truly shows it all, and that you even put God first in everything you've done. Thank you for all the things, all the inspiring conversations and encouragement and tips you actually gave to everyone. As a token of our appreciation, we want to say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for blessing us. Thank you for being a blessing. Thank you for feeding us. Accept our gratitude and love. And we pray that God will continue to take you guys higher and higher in Jesus' name. Continue to blossom and flourish in Jesus' name. When you see us next time, hey, we are going to blow. We'll be out there in Jesus' name. Thank you. Thank you for making yourself as instruments of vessels unto these younger ones. And we truly appreciate you and love you. God bless you guys.
Another, oh,
Say, if you guys wanted to, I'm pretty sure for them as well, talk to us after or get my info or any of our info, you know, feel free.
you. Oh yeah, y'all can go to your seats now. Yeah, look, we need to take a picture.
Guys, sit back and relax before we get into the next presentation, okay?